James Arness, born in 1923, became an icon of television history with his role as Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke, a character he portrayed for an astonishing 20 years. Towering at 6 feet 7 inches, he embodied the stoic, unshakable lawman who maintained order in Dodge City. Arness, however, lived a life filled with personal tragedies. His younger brother, Peter Graves, also an actor, found great success, but their relationship was often strained due to professional rivalry. Arness was deeply scarred by his experiences in World War II, where he was severely wounded in Italy. His injuries left him in chronic pain for the rest of his life, forcing him to take painkillers, which affected his mood and health. His personal life was equally troubled. His first marriage to Virginia Chapman ended in a bitter divorce, and their adopted son, Craig, died young. His daughter, Jenny Lee Arness, tragically took her own life in 1975, an event that devastated him. Arness withdrew further from the public eye, seeking solace in his later years before passing away in 2011 at the age of 88. Though he died of natural causes, the weight of past sorrows and health issues had long taken their toll. Step back in time to the untamed Wild West with Gunsmoke, the legendary television series that captivated audiences from 1955 to 1975. On screen, it was a world of high-stakes showdowns, fearless heroes, and gripping storytelling. But behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, the real lives of its actors were far from the iconic roles they portrayed. Prepare for a haunting journey as we uncover the heartbreaking tragedies that befell the Gunsmoke cast, ranging from devastating illnesses to sudden, unexplained deaths and shocking accidents that no one saw coming. They were once the icons of television's golden era, yet fate had a cruel twist in store. These stories are not just tales of loss, but stark reminders that fame and fortune cannot shield one from life's harshest realities. Join us as we unveil the dark and tragic secrets behind Gunsmoke, a gripping look at the lives of those who brought the Old West to life. James Nusser was born in 1905, a man whose rugged features and weary expression made him the perfect fit for the downtrodden yet endearing town drunk, Louis Feeders, on Gunsmoke. Across 81 episodes from 1956 to 1972, Nusser brought an undeniable depth to the role, portraying Louis as more than just a drunken fool. He was a tragic soul, haunted by the past and clinging to the fringes of Dodge City. Off-screen, his own life seemed to mirror the loneliness of his character. Hollywood never truly embraced him, relegating him to minor roles in films such as The Adventures of Mark Twain, 1944, and The Young Lions, 1958. His personal life was equally bleak. Little is known of any family or close relationships, suggesting a solitary existence. As the years passed, his struggles with alcoholism mirrored those of Louis Feeders. By the time he died in 1979, he had faded into near obscurity, his passing barely noted by the industry he had once served. His body was cremated, with no known family to claim his ashes, a final testament to a life lived on the margins, both on and off the screen. Burt Rumsey was born in 1892, a silent and steady presence in Hollywood's golden age, known primarily for his role as the gruff but dependable bartender in Gunsmoke. From 1955 to 1959, he appeared in 75 episodes, serving drinks and lending a listening ear to the weary souls of Dodge City. Though his role was minor, Rumsey was a fixture of the Western genre, also appearing in films such as Cheyenne Autumn, 1964, and Winchester 73, 1950. Despite a long career, his name rarely graced the headlines, and Hollywood never truly acknowledged his contributions. His personal life remains largely undocumented, with little information about any marriages or children. Some reports suggest he lived much of his life alone, dedicating himself entirely to his work. When he passed away in 1968, his death received minimal attention, another veteran actor quietly slipping away, his legacy left to linger in the fading memories of classic television fans. Milburn Stone, born in 1904, was best known as the gruff yet compassionate Doc Adams, Dodge City's dedicated physician. A veteran character actor, he had spent decades in Hollywood, struggling in small film roles before Gunsmoke brought him lasting recognition. But success did not shield him from hardship. Stone had a turbulent personal life, With multiple failed relationships and financial struggles in his early career, he was deeply attached to his wife, Jane Garrison, but their marriage suffered under the pressures of his work, leading to years of separation before they reconciled. Behind the scenes, Stone battled health issues exacerbated by a heavy smoking habit. In 1960, he suffered a major heart attack, forcing him to take a break from the show. He returned, but his health steadily declined, and he finally retired after Gunsmoke ended. In 1980, he succumbed to a second heart attack at the age of 75. His death, though quiet, marked the end of a long and often difficult life, filled with professional highs, but personal struggles that left him weary. Matthew McHugh was born in 1910, a man whose face became a familiar sight in the background of Gunsmoke, though few ever spoke his name. He was a townsperson, a bystander, sometimes Joe, sometimes just another shadow in Dodge City. His presence spanned 71 episodes from 1958 to 1966, a testament to his reliability as a character actor. Yet, beyond the dusty streets of television westerns, McHugh's own life faded into obscurity. His career never reached the heights of leading man, and he remained confined to small, often uncredited roles in films like The Twilight Zone, 1959, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962. As the years passed, so did his opportunities, leaving him largely forgotten by the industry he had devoted himself to. He died in 1973, his passing largely unnoticed, a footnote in Hollywood history. Whether he left behind a family, a legacy, or just the quiet whispers of a career that never truly flourished is lost to time. Clem Fuller was born in 1899, a man of the Old West who brought authenticity to Gunsmoke, appearing in 67 episodes between 1957 and 1961. He played Clem, a nameless townsman, a fleeting presence in the vast world of television's longest-running Western. Yet, Fuller's own life was filled with shadows that stretched far beyond the frontier. A stuntman and bit actor, he lived in the margins of Hollywood, bruised and battered by the roles that never quite led to fame. His film credits included classics like The Wild Bunch, 1969, and Rio Bravo, 1959, but his name rarely appeared in the spotlight. Fuller's later years were marked by hardship, an aging cowboy left behind by an industry that had no place for him anymore. He died in 1975, slipping away into the same anonymity that had defined much of his career. Whether his heart gave out from years of strain or simply from a lifetime of disappointment, no grand eulogy was written. Only the flickering images on black and white screens remain as his silent testament. Amanda Blake, born Beverly Louise Neal in 1929, became a television icon through her role as Miss Kitty Russell, the fiery yet warm-hearted saloon owner in Gunsmoke. She appeared in 569 episodes over nearly 2 decades, embodying the strength and independence of a woman in the Old West. Though beloved on-screen, Blake's personal life was riddled with hardships. She was married 5 times, each marriage ending in divorce, leaving her emotionally shattered. Her last husband, Mark Spaeth, a developer and politician, died in 1985 from complications related to AIDS, just a year after their divorce. Blake herself faced immense suffering in her final years. A heavy smoker, she was first diagnosed with oral cancer, which she survived. However, in 1989, at the age of 60, she succumbed to complications from AIDS-related pneumonia, reportedly contracted from her late husband. Her cause of death was initially hidden due to the stigma surrounding AIDS at the time, with conflicting reports suggesting oral cancer as the cause. Her passing was a tragic end for a woman who had once lit up the screen with her charm and resilience, leaving behind a legacy that fans continue to cherish. Ken Curtis, born Curtis Wayne Gates in 1916, played Festus Hagen, the scrappy, humorous, and fiercely loyal deputy marshal in Gunsmoke. His portrayal of Festus, with his thick country drawl and scruffy appearance, made him one of the most beloved characters in the series. However, Curtis's talents extended beyond acting. He was also an accomplished singer, performing with the famous Sons of the Pioneers, a Western music group that had worked with Roy Rogers. Before Gunsmoke, he appeared in several Westerns, often playing sidekicks or villains. Despite his success, Curtis faced personal and professional struggles. He grew up in a strict household in Colorado, where his relationship with his family was often strained. Though he found stability in his marriage to Tori Ahern Connolly, whom he was with for over 40 years, his later years were marked by a gradual decline in his career as traditional westerns fell out of favor. On April 28, 1991, Curtis died unexpectedly in his sleep at his home in Fresno, California, due to a heart attack. He was 74 years old. His sudden passing left fans mourning the loss of a man who had brought humor and heart to one of television's greatest westerns. Dennis Weaver, born in 1924, brought depth and humanity to the role of Chester Goode, Marshall Dillon's devoted and limping deputy in Gunsmoke. With his signature drawl and loyal demeanor, Chester became one of the most beloved characters of the show's early years. Weaver's departure in 1964 allowed him to pursue other roles, including his Emmy-winning performance in McCloud and his chilling turn in Steven Spielberg's thriller Duel, 1971. Despite his professional success, Weaver faced many personal struggles. Raised in the Great Depression, he often spoke of his family's financial hardships, which shaped his resilience. His marriage to Jerry Stoll lasted over 60 years, yet he carried deep burdens, including the pressures of Hollywood and the emotional toll of watching his close friends and colleagues pass away. In his later years, he became an environmental activist, but even his efforts to make a better world couldn't prevent his own decline. In 2006, Weaver succumbed to complications from cancer at the age of 81, his once strong frame weakened by the very disease he had fought for years. His passing was a devastating loss to classic television, but his legacy remains preserved in the many roles he played with heart and conviction. Glenn Strange, born in 1899, was a towering presence in Gunsmoke as Sam Noonan, the gruff but kind-hearted bartender of the Long Branch Saloon. With his rugged features and deep voice, Strange was a natural in westerns, yet he had another claim to fame. He portrayed Frankenstein's monster in several Universal horror films, inheriting the role from Boris Karloff. His career spanned decades, but the cowboy image never left him, and he became a staple of Hollywood's golden era of westerns. Behind the scenes, however, life was not always kind. Born into a poor New Mexico ranching family, Strange had to fight for every bit of success he achieved. His marriage to Minnie Thompson was one of the few stable aspects of his life, but he suffered from chronic health issues that eventually took their toll. In 1973, at the age of 74, he died from lung cancer, just as Gunsmoke was approaching its final years. The cast deeply mourned his loss, especially Amanda Blake, who reportedly broke down upon hearing the news. His death marked the end of an era, leaving behind a legacy of both horror and Western cinema that fans still admire today. Ted Jordan, born in 1924, was a familiar face to Gunsmoke fans, portraying Nathan Burke and other minor roles throughout the series. Though he was never a leading man, his presence in 131 episodes made him a steady fixture in Dodge City. His life, however, was far from stable. Before acting, he had been a real-life cowboy and rodeo performer, but Hollywood did not offer him the stardom he had dreamed of. His marriage to actress Lal Betker was fraught with struggles, and he found himself drifting between roles in westerns and crime dramas, never quite breaking through. His later years were marked by financial difficulties and declining health. In 2005, he passed away from a long illness, his contributions to television largely forgotten by then. Despite his years in Gunsmoke, he never truly escaped the shadow of anonymity, dying in relative obscurity. Rudy Suter, born in 1904, was not only an actor but also a talented musician, known for his work in Western films and television. In Gunsmoke, he appeared as a townsman and barfly in over 100 episodes, blending seamlessly into the dusty backdrop of Dodge City. But behind the scenes, his life was one of constant struggle. Despite his musical talent, he never found major success, often working as a background performer while watching others take the spotlight. His personal life was marked by loneliness, as his devotion to his career left little room for lasting relationships. The twilight of his life was overshadowed by failing health and financial difficulties. In 1974, he passed away, largely unnoticed by the industry he had spent decades contributing to. Though he had left his mark in small ways, the world moved on quickly, leaving him as just another forgotten face in Hollywood's long history of unsung performers. What do you think about the deaths of the actors from Gunsmoke, and who do you remember the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest videos.